Welcome to Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. In the next half hour, you'll obtain insights and tools to transform your life using the biblical principles found in the 12-step program. We believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience because we all have struggles in life. Struggles with addictions, food, depression, anxiety, and relationships, to name a few. You'll be encouraged to see how others have found a new way of life with hope for the future through life recovery. Your host is Steve Arterburn, founder of New Life Ministries and Women of Faith, author of over 100 books, and a sought-after speaker and teacher. Steve is the co-editor of the Life Recovery Bible, the #1 selling recovery Bible. With over 3 million copies sold, this is the Bible given to inmates by Prison Fellowship and the Pew Bible for the Salvation Army. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, Steve Arterburn here. Welcome to Life Recovery Today. You know, life recovery is all about 12 steps. 12 steps that came right out of the good book. I was just reading about Dr. Bob last night in a book written by his son, and he talks about the deep faith in Christ that Dr. Bob had. Well, you know, as you work through those 12 steps, you start to experience some clarity. It's almost supernatural, kind of because maybe those 12 steps are based on the supernatural God of the Bible. Well, today we're going to explore this step 9 of making amends. You know, we became willing to do it in step 8. Now we're doing it. It can really feel overwhelming to face the wrongs that we've done to other people. But of course, if you saw Step 8 program, you know how much freedom it gave me. I could look people in the eye. I had a freedom I had never had before. Today we're going to hear from Corey Busk. He serves as Vice President of Operations in a great drug and alcohol treatment center. He's been in recovery for years. So let's listen as Corey shares about this amazing Step 9, which I believe is the step of freedom, really stepping out of our past into freedom. Here's Corey.
So we have gotten to step 9. If you've gotten past step 8 and you're on step 9, I'm proud of you. I am proud of you, because this next step is going to be another one, right? The 12 steps are just one after the other. And step 9, which is what we're going to talk about today, is this: we may direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Now, here's the thing about step 9. Step 9 is all about restoration in our addiction, in our past. There have been bonds that we have damaged. And it could be for a number of reasons, right? I live and I work and I operate in the addiction, the substance addiction recovery world. Now, that's not the only, substance is not the only addiction. So when I say addiction, I can encompass a lot of things. I'm not just talking about substance, but within our addictions, we have done things. We have broken trust. We have said things that have hurt people. We have taken people's possessions, right? I could go on and on into a list of things that are probably on most of our inventories. But what we're doing in step 9 is we're restoring. We're going back to some of those broken relationships, going back to some of that damage, and we are reconciling with our friends, with our family. There was someone that I wasn't sponsoring them in a recovery group, but they were just someone that it was just a joy to be around. They were brand new, their first time in recovery. They just years and years of addiction. And I remember I was talking to him, how was your inventory? He's like, oh, I'm on step 9. And I was like, okay, great. How's that? Are you excited about that? And he said, yes. And then he said, you know who my first person is? The guy I see every morning when I get my coffee at McDonald's. And he was so excited to go talk to that guy that he saw every single morning, because one of the starts, the first step to making his amends, was that he said that he was extremely rude to that man every single day. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh my gosh, I would give anything to be able to have that type of amends. And trust me, we all have it's all relative, right? But that was his first step in reconciliation, was the guy that he bought his coffee from every single morning. And which I find so endearing, because even on his list, which I poked and prodded, were some very, very traumatic experiences. But that was his first step, right? His first step in restoring a bond or a damaged relationship that he thought he had. And so, too, the other thing that step 9 is doing, the second thing, is that it's rebuilding trust. See, when in our addiction, in those broken bonds, we really have lost trust. For me, it was someone that I had worked for. I'd really lost his trust and had really taken just advantage of the job I was in and whatnot. And I'm not going to get into too much detail, but there was just the trust was not there with the people I had lived with at the time, with my family, with my now wife. There was just all of these relationships that I genuinely had to start rebuilding after I started my life recovery, because my addiction was more hidden, right? It was it was still a substance, but it was more hidden. Nobody really knew. And so I almost had to expose myself in recovery and then rebuild my relationships. And so when we enter in recovery and genuinely apologize and work to make things right, that's when the rebuilding of the trust starts. Now, the hard thing is sometimes when we start step 9, we feel a little hopeless, that piece, that trust can never be there, because some of us have so many times we've made amends. We may have not done it in a formal way and gotten through 8 steps, and now we're on step 9. So this is what we do next. But some of us have tried to restore relationships. Excuse me. We've tried to restore relationships before. Or we hurt someone and then we hurt them again, and we knew what we were doing. We knew that we could take from our grandmother's purse the money that she had. And then she found out, and we broke trust. And then we told her we wouldn't do it again. And then when she wasn't looking, we did it again. And so there are these things, these repetitive habits that we have had, and sometimes these repetitive hurts, that it is hard, or it seems hopeless, to rebuild that trust. But here's the thing about recovery. You even getting to step 9 shows a commitment to your recovery and to getting better, right? The act of making amends should be signifying, at least to you, if not others, that you are there's personal growth here. There is change, right? There's that verse about the old is gone and the new has come. And a lot of times what we hope for is that we would just say it, right? The old is gone, the new has come, and that they would just believe it, but we can't. And so this is the first step in the rebuilding of trust. This is the first step of showing that we have a commitment to change. Why? Because, like I said earlier, we would have never done this before. We've never done it in this way, where we've sat down and we've really admitted and not blamed anything or anyone else. This was us. I did this to you, and I am sorry. I apologize. You are worth more than that. You are worth more than that. Just that alone, saying that to someone, just the willingness, right? That you're willing, that you're evolving, that you're becoming a more responsible person, that the old is gone and the new has come. And let me just show you. Let me just show you that the old is gone and the new has come. Because why this is important is because sometimes, oftentimes, when we're in recovery, we live with those people that we hurt. We live with them. And I don't know if you know this, but an environment, a healthy environment that we live in is crucial for recovery. And so it is not just going to benefit, ideally, the people that you make amends with. But there are benefits to you, and that's the first one, right? That you're now in an environment in which you can operate in a healthy way. I have sat with hundreds of people in recovery, maybe even more than hundreds, but hundreds of people in recovery and trying to live a new life. And I will say that step 9, the reason why I want to talk about step 9 is because people are important to us. Relationship, community. We've heard time after time in especially in church circles that we are made for community. And so our community is important and it affects us, right? It affects us. The cold shoulders, the words that people say to us, the looks they give, really does affect us, those in recovery. And yes, it is our fault on what we do with that, but the other blessing and the other benefit to you and to me in step 9 is that it's also releasing this guilt and this shame that we have built up. We could just as easily have said, you know what? That was the addiction. It was not me. But that's not where we're at in the steps. Right? We've admitted that it was us. And so I'm coming to you as the person that I hurt to say, you know what? I'm sorry that I hurt you. And I've been thinking about it for a long time. I've been thinking about it a while. Through 9 steps. I've been thinking about it. And it's really has been weighing on me. And I'm really sorry. Right? You are releasing some of this guilt. You're releasing some of the shame. They may not know that, but you do. It's an emotional well-being piece. Step 9 is.
Life recovery isn't just about making the courageous choice to give up an addiction or dependency. It's a journey towards health, wholeness, and becoming your very best you. If you need resources to help you in your journey, we can help. There are many life recovery resources that you can do on your own, with a group, or with your church. We have Bibles, workbooks, and devotionals that you can use to work your recovery right where you are. That's the beauty of life recovery. To learn more or to get the Life Recovery Bible or any other life recovery resource, visit liferecoverytoday.net or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It's hard to find a trusted friend when you're in crisis. Someone who's been there and understands, but who also has the training and skill to give you practical help. Family, friends, and churches want to help, but often they're not equipped to care for those dealing with problems like addiction and pornography, infidelity, anger, depression. New Life Ministries is here to provide help and hope in life's hardest places. We're not focused on making people feel better. We're focused on helping people do the work that will help them be better. At New Life, we have resources available to help you, like books, DVDs, CDs, workshops, and our network of licensed counselors. If you need help, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and begin your new life today.
Welcome back. I remember working through this list in step 8. Oh my goodness, it just got longer and longer. And it was depressing as I took this honest assessment of my life and the people that I had hurt. Well, when I started to make amends, that felt a little bit overwhelming. That's why we just do one step at a time. And that's why, like in step 8, you make the list and you become willing. And if you didn't take the time to become willing, I think you might just never, ever get past step 8 into this step 9. In fact, we do know quite a few people stall out at step 8. Well, when we take one step at a time, we're really doing it kind of, I think, is in God's timing, in the amount of time that makes sense, that works for us. We're not in a race, we're just taking some steps. So as we continue to look at step 9, I want to encourage you, don't get overwhelmed. Continue in the recovery journey. You can do it one person at a time as you're making these amends. You can do it. So let's hear it from Corey as he explains step number 9.
And then what I've also seen in step 9 as a benefit is the self-esteem piece. The self-esteem piece and the self-worth. Resolving these past things really help us to feel better about ourselves, help us feel better about our recovery. It brings in hope, which hope is the number one thing that should be instilled in any type of mental health and or addiction. It is the thing that is crucial. And so our self-esteem and our self-worth are improving. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. And then when that happens, when your emotional well-being, that guilt and that shame is being released, and then you're feeling better about yourself and where you're at in recovery and where God has you, what it in turn does is that it prevents relapse and recurrence. Like I said earlier, the people are important to us. Your family, they may not feel that they are important to you. We have done things where we have made our friends and family and those that we do life with, we make them feel unimportant. However, that does not mean that they are unimportant to us. And so their reactions, it does get to us, right? We do have feelings. And so when we're in these environments in which that we are restoring and we're seeing progress and we're seeing hope happen, we are at a place where triggers and relapse are less and less. But here's the thing that you need to know about, well, actually, let me touch on one piece first. Not everyone, it is beneficial for us to make amends with. Now, this is your list of the people that you feel that you should make amends with should be talked about, prayed through, especially ran through someone before you just start making amends. There are folks that we have hurt in the past that don't ever expect to hear from us again, that we've agreed to that, and or that maybe there was some trauma or abuse that we just should not enter into that realm. And like I said, that should be, you should get very wise and trusted counsel on that before you start this whole process. So that's what the last part of step 9 means. I'm talking about if it would do harm to them or others. Sometimes it is just not, it's not the list. And so, like I said, trusted counsel, wise counsel, a sponsor, a counselor, a pastor, someone who can give you advice on, not that one we're going to leave off the list for now. But when we do, the list of people that we do feel, okay, like we are going to make amends with this person, here is the thing that people really don't always tell you. And this happened in my recovery and my step work, and this happened to a number of people. I noticed it in mine, and then I watched it play out in others' recovery in their step nines. And that is that no one tells you about the reactions that you're going to receive. It is all like, this is going to be a hard process, and it's going to be great, right? It's going to be hopefully great at the end. And we're championing you on, it's a great thing, all the things I said before, but no one told me when I walked into making amends, the different types of reactions I am going to receive. So I'm going to give you the 4 that I have seen time and time again, and I've named them. And I'm going to give you an example. The first is the perfect one, right? And what that is when you say, when you make your amends and you say, this is what I did to you, that they look at you and they genuinely say, I appreciate you saying that. And I do forgive you. There's nothing else followed. There's no guilt after that. There's no but. There's no anything. It is the perfect amends, right? And that's the one that we hope for. That's the one that in our minds that we are hoping is going to be every single person that we encounter. So that's the perfect one. Number 2 is the sweeper. And I had a friend who, I traveled to his house. I spent the weekend with him and his family. And at the very end, I knew I wanted to make amends, and that I should make amends all through the weekend. At the very last day, we're sitting out on his porch and his patio, and and I said, hey, I just want to apologize. And at that time, I didn't even know. I knew what I was going to apologize for, but I sometimes in these moments you just kind of lose your words. And so I was just like, I just want to apologize for just the way I treated you and things that I've said and whatnot. And before I could even finish my sentence, he was like, nope, all good. All good. Just like sweep it under the rug. Nothing ever happened. We're good. Let's just move forward. And it wasn't that it wasn't genuine, but it could have also been that maybe they're feeling a little awkward, right? You're feeling awkward. They're feeling awkward. They did not expect this conversation necessarily, or how it would make them feel, right? They probably anticipated that you were going to make amends, but they did not anticipate how this was going to make them feel. So I call them the sweeper. They want to be done with it. They are good, and we're out. And then there's the silent one. And I remember, and I've seen this time and time, making amends with someone, and they just sat there and they stared at me. And I felt, do I have more to say? Do I not? Where are we going from this? Did I say the wrong thing? What are they thinking? And then I just kept talking. If you encounter the silent one, it does not mean you need to keep speaking. Permission to not. Permission to pause yourself and be the silent one and see what they might be processing. They might even know what to say. They might be holding back some feelings or tears that they don't want to release yet. But it is just an awkward situation. The silent one, right? Because like, do you forgive me or do you not? And they'll eventually get there, right? If you pause, and it is very evident that it is their turn now to speak, you will get to where you're going, right? You will eventually get to, we need to talk more, or, yep, okay. And then the last one is the one that takes time. And this happened with for me, a very, very close friend, someone that I considered as a brother. And it was the most respected answer that I think I got in all of my amends. And even today, some of my amends. There was, out of all the people, the first time I worked the steps, out of all of the people I talked to, I had this one friend who just looked me directly in the eyes and said, I appreciate you saying what you said. I appreciate you owning up to it. I appreciate you admitting to, X, Y, and Z. It's just going to take me a while. It's just going to take me a second to forgive you. And I was devastated. But I was devastated because I knew that I'd hurt him. And it wasn't the perfect amends, right? It wasn't the, I forgive you. It was the realest answer. It is going to take me a minute. And some folks that we make amends with, it's just going to take a minute. We've dug some really deep holes and we've really made some deep wounds. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that they're not going to forgive you, and it doesn't mean that it's hopeless. It just means you did your part. You did your part. You tried to make the amends, and they're just going to need time. They're just going to need time. So, step 9, you're on it. You're doing it. And at the end of step 9, and you move on to step 10, you will have the past tense, like we said in the beginning. And don't be surprised if it takes a while to make amends. Go slow. It's not a rush, right? Those folks are still in the same place that they were when you started your steps. So take your time. If you notice that you are making amends and it's stirring something up in you, something that you really feels uncomfy and that you can't control, pause, take a week, take a couple of weeks. There is no time frame for how fast you should make amends. Don't do it in a week. Don't take 10 years, but just do it at your own pace. You got it. I'm praying for you.
Welcome back. Well, here's something that if you're in this recovery journey, surely you know that you're not alone. Now, what do I mean? Well, so many people have gone through this before you. And really, that's what the 12 steps are. They're written in the form of, here's what we did that worked for us, hoping, of course, that it's going to work for you. And so that way, you're not alone. You're not the first person to face these things. A lot of folks before you and a lot of folks successfully on the right path of sobriety, and I have to say integrity. Now, here's another thing. If you're on the journey, you're in a group. And that group should be such that you don't feel alone. You feel like, I am part of this group. I'm not just attending the group. And if you don't feel part of it, then maybe that's not the right group for you, or maybe you're not approaching it in the right way. And so I'd look at that. Because I know I have a Saturday morning group that's my favorite. And when I go there, I feel so comfortable with those men. But when I started going there, I felt nothing but discomfort. Here's another way that you're not alone. We have an 800 number. It's 800 New Life. And if you need support for whatever step you're going through or you're on, you call us and we're going to help you. We have people, they do nothing but work with life recovery. Now, no reason to feel alone. It's not just that God is with you. We're with you. And we want you to call us to be with you when you need us. And you call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I hope to see you next time. Maybe invite a friend to join us right here on Life Recovery Today.
Thanks for joining us for Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. We hope this program has helped you integrate God's truth and wisdom into your recovery journey. This program is brought to you by New Life Ministries, and it's your support that keeps this program on the air. When you contact us for any reason, be sure to let us know that you watch on NRB. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to liferecoverytoday.net. Please join us again next week for more Life Recovery Today.